about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for a basement. Yeah, I lost my way, but I hear tell about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for a basement.
Hi, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. How's it going? How's she going there, buddy? Yeah. Thank you very much for shooting in and joining me here for another one. New West Reset Live, episode 44. 44. Oh, for sure there, Bob. We got the 44 there. Anyway, I don't know what that was. A Hutterite accent mixed with Newfoundlander. I don't know. It's already off the rails. And we're only 2.5 minutes into this thing. Anyway, welcome. Thank you very, very much for joining me here tonight. New West Reset Live. And tonight we're going to look at the Calgary Zoo. The history of the Calgary Zoo, it's kind of like a Jurassic Park kind of a thing, but kind of old-timey Jurassic Park. I don't know. We'll get into it. But thanks a lot once again for kicking off your weekend with yours truly. It's Friday, just after 6 p.m. local time. That's mountain time, don't you know? Coming at you as always from Calgary, Alberta, up here in Canadian land, eh? She's a beauty today. It went above zero today. It's still barely below 0 Celsius, like -4. I think that's, let's see, carry the 2, 24.3, no, 24.8 Fahrenheit, 25 Fahrenheit. Not bad. Sun was shining today. There was a bit of a chilly breeze. Otherwise, I think it would have gotten warmer for a feller. Be that as it may, I hope everybody out there is doing well, enjoying your Friday evening, your Friday night. Maybe it's your Saturday morning. I don't know where you're coming from. Wherever it is, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're spending your Friday with me tonight. Frankie, New West Reset Live. Who we got in the box? Say hello. Say howdy to a guy in the chat. Let me know where you're shooting in from. Eric's here. Old World Hamster Wheel Cranes. How's she going there? Hey, bot? Tidal. Yes, Tidal made it. Always good to see Tidal. Maritz is here. Hidden at plain sight from the Netherlands. The Netherlands. It's over like in and around Holland, you know, the fine Dutch folks. Jabberoo Joe. Hello, howdy. Phil is here as well. Howdy, Phil. Good to see you. Hey, how you doing, Cousin Vin? Huh? Cousin Vinny's here. Got Cousin Vinny over here. Huh? How you doing, Cousin Vinny? Good to see you, Vincent.
So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching New West Reset. Huh? Well, you know, it's New West Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
Say you care.
Neutral mass in the box. Howdy, welcome. Bill's here as well. My pal Bill. That's a terrible joke, but I'm going to say it every time. Every time I'm going to say it now. My pal Bill Pals. Hello, hello. Terry Light, our resident cut up. She's here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Might as well get her going there, eh? It's no sense pussyfooting around there, bot. Eh? El Nino, or whatever they say. I hear it's just a Chinook, man. It's a Chinook. It's an old native Canadian, Indian, First Nations, Indigenous people's word. Chinook. Chinook. You know, like them salmon and them helicopters. You know how it is. So yeah, we're going to look into some of the history of the Calgary Zoo. There's not much for photos, though. I could really, because of all the hubbub around the zoo, I think it's the most according to the Wikipedia and other sources anyway. It's the most visited zoo in Canada. Out of all the zoos, Vancouver Zoo, Toronto Zoo, or whatever it's called, the one in Montreal, Canada's first zoo over in Nova Scotia there, eh, buddy? Halifax there, the Halifax Zoo, I believe. Out of all the zoos all across from coast to coast to coast in this the great wide North Canada land, eh? It's like the most visited zoo. Way out here in the prairies, in the middle of Bob's Your Uncle Nowhere. So that's interesting. It's one of the largest too, apparently, in Canada. It's actually one of the largest in North America or something. For sure, one of the largest in Canada, but one of the largest in North America too. It's one of the oldest in Canada. And it's in Calgary. I don't know. There's like one or two zoos that are older than the Calgary Zoo. And you guess it, they'd be out east, right? Because, the narrative. You guys got to go west there for Manifest Destiny and to open up the Westland and the wild frontier with with the horses and the carts and the covered wagons and the oxen. Got to watch out for them wild Indian savages with the bows and arrows. They'll try to get you. And then, you got the buffalo. And, it's the same thing as in the Great Plains of the United States. But we'll look into it. It kind of has a little bit of a history starting off as a wildlife preserve, in the Victorian era, of course, right? Right when Calgary had a handful of 1,000 people, 3,000 people. It didn't really become a full-fledged zoo until the early 30s, I think. But prior to that, it was a zoo. It just wasn't an official zoo. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll look at that whole thing, but not a lot of pictures. You'd think with all the hubbub, with being most visited and one of the biggest and one of the oldest in Canada and all that, there'd be photos of this zoo. Maybe not construction photos, but you think somebody would have brought one of these with them. Hey, we're going to the. It's the 30s. I mean, people had cameras. You can get cameras like that. It's $5 a dime in the 30s, no problem. And if you lived out in the country and you weren't city folk, we could order it from the Eaton's or the Bay catalog, mail order. Canada Post would deliver it to you. So I had a hell of a time finding old pictures. Found a few, but it's mostly the dinosaurs. That's right, the Calgary Zoo had dinosaurs. Look out, people. Jurassic Park. Depression era Calgary Zoo. Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs. So if you love the dinosaurs, yeah. That's right. Now hipsters try to selfie with the bison and the buffalo, and they're not amused. No, for sure. I mean, we still have buffalo, bison up here in Alberta, in Purdy, Alberta. Absolutely. Absolutely we do. Anyway, we're going to look at all that. because I had a heck of a time finding photographs and a bunch of interesting articles. So, Anyways, thanks again for joining me. Appreciate it. New West Reset Live, episode 44 here tonight. Friday, December 15th, 2023. About a quarter past 6 p.m. Mountain Time here. Thank you once again for joining me. I apologize, by the way. I started about 2.5, 3 minutes late. I don't like that. A fellow likes to be prompt. I don't like being late. Sorry about that. I was having problems with Rumble. I was having problems getting the stream going properly on Rumble. I don't know. Normally it's not a problem. So, but it's all working fine now. So links down in the description box. Rumble, BitChute, MeWe, a feller's email. You got any ideas for the show? Try to keep her Canadian now if you can there, eh? Also links for tonight, the Wikipedia page for the Calgary Zoo and all the articles we'll be looking at. The photos that I did find, the ones that were in the 1890s and pre-World War I, were at the zoo site, but before it was a zoo. Then after that, I have seemingly, they jump ahead 2 decades on the interwebs machine, Google Images and other sources for images. So you go from like the 19-teens to all of a sudden, boom, the 1930s, and the zoo's up. But then the only photos I could find really were of the dinosaurs. No photos of the enclosures, the old buildings, really. So, But I did find an interesting building that was on the site prior to the zoo, because it was prior to that a wildlife preserve and a city park. It's an island on the Bow River. I'll show you. I'll show you in the Goggle Maps. We'll do a goggle drop. Yeah, that's right. I mean, dinosaur is fairly... I had to brush my hair. If you only knew. A fella's got about 6 hairs on his head, so don't even worry about it too much. Got more hair growing out of my ears at this stage of my life than the top of a guy's, dome. If like on the top and all that, it's nothing. Sides, and at the back, sure, I could grow a fine skullet. I could grow it long and lean and mean in the back and down the sides. But on top, it'd be cue ball, bowling ball. See what I'm saying? So it'd be a fantastic skullet. Yeah, well, oh, sorry. Vincent saying we drove through Drumheller last year and noticed a restaurant with this fantastic name. Pho Dinosaur, but it's faux dinosaur. They should have named it Pho Dinosaur. Phonosaur. Dinopho. I don't know. Pretty much everything in Drumheller is dinosaur themed. You know what I'm saying? I have to file my nails. A fella gets, manicures at about once a week for you. For you people. I'm not doing it for me. I don't care. I work with my hands, so I just wear work gloves all day. It protects my hands. Fine. But for the loving viewer, and as to give back that love that I have for you, yes, I do a nice manicure once a week before the show. Because Frankie Fingers has got to look good for the show over here.
So now you know what I'm talking about with the whole New West Reset thing.
No.
What?
No.
What I said about Frankie Fingers. That Frankie Fingers and New West Reset are the same.
Wait, what?
don't stand no cheating. She don't stand none of that.
Phony sour. Yeah, that's right. Bill says he got dressed up. Nice. Thanks, Bill. Tip of the hat to you. Tip of the hat to you. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Like jacket and tie? Really? I'm like, yes. Hi, Cindy. Howdy, howdy, Cindy. Right in. Boom. Your cuticles look great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Wow. 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 Hey, you know, there you go. You left me speechless. Don't know what to say. I will say this, because I've said it before, you're a great bunch here on the channel. All of you that come by, watch the videos, join in on the show in the box there. You're a great bunch. Appreciate it. You're all hilarious. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Hey, just because I try to keep it, PG doesn't mean that you have to. There in the box, you can say do whatever you want for the most part. Go nuts. Okay, whoa there now. Easy. Pull back on them reins there. Wait, whoa! I said whoa now. Make me bust out the Yosemite Sam voice now. Well, I said whoa there. Dragons is so stupid. Anyway, thank you for joining me. As mentioned, links for everything below. Coming at you live on the HooTubes and over on the Rumble. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it. That's right. Whoa, I say. Oh, man. You're a fun bunch. That's all I got to say about that. And thank you. I dig that. I dig that shit about you. I dig it. Anyway, let's look at before we get to okay, I gotta get myself together here now. Oh, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the Foghorn Leghorn. It's one of my favorite characters in Looney Tunes. I say, you ain't too bright, are you, boy? Anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, him and that dog always screwing with each other. That's hilarious, man. It's hilarious, even. It's so hilarious. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's see what it says on the Wikipedia, shall we? By the way, if you haven't already, give a guy one of these, or one of those, one of these even. I don't know what. It just helps guy out, helps push me out into the algorithm a little bit, right? Thank you very much. Headley Man, BC, howdy. Welcome. Oh, of course, Dino. It was like Dino on the Flintstones, Foghorn. Him and that dog messing with each other, and the widow hen, and then the chicken hawk. I'm a chicken hawk. Yeah, that little bugger always screwing with him. Anyway, let's get back here. Let's get the show on the road here. Let's get back to. I was going to say let's get back to it, but I haven't even gotten to it yet to get back to in the first place. Here we go. Of course, the Wikipedia. See what they say about the Calgary Zoo. By the way, by the who and the what now? What got a feller into this line of thinking about the zoo? Because it's odd, right? It's winter here in Canada, snow on the ground here in Calgary, right? You're gonna start seeing some of my boots on the ground videos. There's gonna be snow on the ground. It's gonna be chilly. Yeah, you might even see a guy wearing gloves. Anyway. You might be thinking, what does a zoo have to do with winter and snow? What do you? Is the cheese slid off the cracker a bit? What's going on up there? You need to give your head a shake there, bud? What's going on there, buddy? But no, it's because here at the Calgary Zoo, I live pretty close to the zoo, actually. I can walk. I can hoof it. I can heel toe it to the zoo from here in like, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. Half hour tops. Not too shabby, you know. Anyway, they have the zoo lights, the Christmas lights display at the Calgary Zoo. So a fella started thinking, hey, that'd be a good thing to bring my nieces and nephews and great nieces and great nephew too, you know, for the whole Christmas thing. Because I ain't gonna bring them all the way over here to my place. You know, my brother and I are roommates, so we share our suite together. It's not a lot of room for a bunch of kids running around all over the place. Yeah, catch what a fella's saying. Plus, then you got to child-proof everything, and you know, you got to put foam padding on the corners of all your furniture, lest any tiny little heads get busted open on, you know, coffee table or whatever. So then I got to thinking about the zoo, and I was looking online at the zoo lights thing, and you know, when it's open, and you know, all that jazz. What's going on here? Awakening Soldier Box, welcome. Built a child's playground behind the Calgary Zoo on a tiny island on the Bow River. That could have been Prince's Island in Prince's Island Park. There's a series of islands in the Bow River. The zoo is on an island, which is St. George's Island. Then there's well, I think it gets into it here in the article. But there's like 4 or 5 islands and around there. So yeah. I think Prince's Island is one of the smaller ones. Isabella Live 2.0. Howdy. Welcome. So let's see here. The Wilder Institute / Calgary Zoo. It's located in Bridgeland, or as we say in Calgary, Bridgeland. It's our little Italy up there. Done a little boots on the ground up there recently, by the way. And speaking of cousin Vinny, he and I were doing some poking around up there, having a looky-loo. Anyways, here in Calgary, hence, you know, Calgary Zoo. So one would imagine it's probably Calgary. Anyway, just east of the city's downtown, adjacent to Inglewood, which we have not yet looked at on the channel. Saving that for the summer. We'll do a meetup. But Vincent and I were what do you call it? Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep on the thing, on the this. Thanks. Texting. We're texting the other night about Inglewood, which is it's a great neighborhood for old world stuff. East Village. Yeah, so the zoo is in the old. It's sort of in right in the center of the older neighborhoods in the city. See by the photo here. It's right on the river. It's this island here, basically. The zoo is operated by the Calgary Zoological Society, an independent nonprofit organization. Yada. It's Alberta's oldest registered charity. Look at that. The zoo is among the first in Canada to be accredited with all 3 associations. It's over 1,000 animals, including individual fish, or excluding, individual fish and insects. Yeah, who would want to go in there and count the insects? Hey, Frankie. Yeah, how's it going there, eh? We need you to go in there, bud, and count up all the insects. You mean just overall, or do I mean as like flies, mosquitoes, spiders? No, you don't have to get too specific. Just count them for the official registry. Could you imagine? Anyway, 272 different species, 120-acre zoo, organized by 7 district zones, Destination Africa, Canadian Wilds, Penguin Plunge, the Dorothy Harvey Botanical Gardens, which is fantastic, NMAX Conservatory, TransAlta Rainforest. Of course, they're going to have branding, right? They can't just have, Rainforest Region. No, it has to be the TransAlta, which is an electricity company here in Alberta. NMAX also an electricity company. Eurasia, no branding. Nobody wants to invest any branding or be a sponsor of Eurasia, I guess, for some reason. And Prehistoric Park. Oh, look, the dinosaurs. Zoo's open every day except Christmas Day. As Canada's most visited zoo. Calgary Zoo was in 2015 recognized by TripAdvisor with its Traveler's Choice Award. The zoo has also received international recognition. It's one of the top zoos in the world. Conservation research. 2013, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums said, quote, the Calgary Zoo sets itself apart as one of the top zoos in the whole world, in the whole wide world. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, really? Way out here in Calgary, Alberta? Okay. I mean, I guess good work can be done anyway. I don't know if you want to count holding animals hostage and doing experiments on them good work. But anyway, in 2015, the zoo was named one of the top 3 most respected organizations in Alberta, one of Alberta's 10 most beloved brands. Say what you want about zoos. I'm a sucker for the zoo. I love animals. And yes, I understand it's not the most ideal situation for them to be living in. There is one thing I can say, because I've visited the Calgary Zoo many times in my 43 years living here in Calgary. The habitats are quite huge. There's hardly any what you would see as like animals in cages, really. They're massive habitats. Sometimes you go and you're standing there for like 10 minutes going, hey, buffalo, hey, buffalo. And it's in the trees, it's hiding, you can't even see it. It's basically like that scene in Jurassic Park where they got to coax up the T-Rex with a goat. It's kind of like that. But they don't let you throw the goats at the buffalo at the zoo for some reason. Not really sure why. Probably because it's, harmful to animals. And again, that's the thing is, on the other hand, I know what goes on in zoos. I mean, there's animals, no matter how big the habitats are, they're being held there. They're not free to roam, right? Of course, they do experiments on animals. There's breeding programs, but they do. I mean, I don't know what they do over there. Never worked at the zoo, but I'd like to think that it's very benevolent and kind. And, it's just they're tickling baby goats' tummies there all day at the zoo. The zookeepers, but I don't know what they do. So, it's one of those things that, I mean, I like the zoo, but I know that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. But I do love the animals. And I find the history of this thing weird. It takes these giant jumps. It says, I have lots of pictures of me and another carpenter building the playground. Map Street View, maybe. Well, see, it's the weird thing, though, is there's no pictures of the zoo. I mean, there's that I could find online, like old photos, like old black and white photos from the 30s, from the 20s, construction photos or otherwise. There's a picture of a guy petting a beaver. Oh, easy, steady now, steady. I think there's another picture of some people looking at, I don't know, a leopard or something in some big enclosure, or, I mean, it's old timey at that point. So back then there were bars and their enclosures were like just large cages. But other than that, it's all the dinosaur stuff. So I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, I hope they're not groping the apes there. Although I think, apes are strong, man. I think if some weirdo was trying to grope one of the apes there, and the ape didn't like it, wasn't down with it, just like tear the guy's arm out of his socket and beat him to death with his own severed limb, probably without much problem. whether it's a chimp or a baboon or an orangutan or a gorilla. I mean, all the quote unquote great apes, right? Stomp a mud hole in your ass. I mean, most of the animals I think that are in the enclosures there, an overwhelming majority, like very high 90s percentile, are born in captivity. It's not like it was back in the day where they would just, a bunch of guys in pith helmets would go out to the Serengeti and capture some gazelles and with nets and tranquilizers and or bump them over the head with a bat, or I don't know what they did, throw them on a steam train, take them to some port city off the coast of Africa, throw them in some cargo ship, and send them across to the colonies to throw in some zoo in New York, Bronx Zoo or the Toronto Zoo or something. That's why zoos have breeding programs, basically just to get other animals for other zoos. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, not that there's none. I did find some, and we'll look at them, but not many. And no construction photos. You'd think, Awakening Soldier says he has photos of him building a playground near the zoo, like behind the zoo. So if a couple of dudes building a kid's playground have photos, then how come they're building an entire zoo, such a highly accredited, highly rated zoo as well? No, not much for photos. But the dinosaur thing, you see, the interwebs is filled with photos of the dinosaur prehistoric park portion of the zoo, pre and post-war. Because they got to push that narrative here in Alberta, most especially in southern Alberta, where in the Badlands, right, from Drumheller all the way down through into southwestern Alberta, down into southeastern Alberta, toward Medicine Hat, the Badlands, where they find all them dead dinosaur bones, you see. So they got to push that narrative. You have no idea how many dinosaur museums there are here in southern Alberta. Plus, we got the tar pits in south central Alberta. So, again, it's like the Flintstones around here for a guy. Anyway, let's look a bit at the history here real quick before we get up to our elbows in it. St. George's Island. So that's the island, as mentioned, that the Calgary Zoo is on. It was Calgary's first park, used by the communities for picnics, relaxing, and socializing. The first collection of animals appeared on the island in 1917. The Calgary Zoological Society was established in 1929. So it took them, excuse me, took them a while to get their butts in gear to go from, just having a collection of animals to actually forming a zoological society. And prior to that, it was a park. I mean, it had always been sort of a park used by the neighborhoods that were mentioned above, Bridgeland and Inglewood and East Village. Ramsey as well, you could probably put in there. Of course, downtown, anybody that lived downtown. You could take the old cable car, the old electric streetcars. Several animals died during floods in June 1929 when St. George's Island was swamped. Great. So the very year that the Zoological Society was established, a bunch of animals died in floods. Nice job. Nice job. Whew. That's going to leave a bit of a blemish on your record, no? Notice there's no names for who's in charge at that point, so that's great. Moving along here through the history. This, by the way, it's the history according to Wikipedia, the Calgary Zoo. We jumped from 1929 with a bunch of animals dying to Destination Africa opened in 2003. Say what? Got like an 74-year jump. Is that right? What else went on in the zoo? Was there anything about, it was built? They added, wild animals. They added specifically Canadian animals, bears. Monkeys were brought in 1948. Or no, nothing. Selfs in Africa exhibit opens, which was basically an expansion of a already existing African wilds portion of the zoo. But to include two new facilities, the Transalta Rainforest and the African Savanna. Also, the electric power generating company sponsored a part of the zoo. And they get their name in lights. Good, hooray. It's open to Penguin Plunge, an Arctic/Antarctic penguin edition 2012. Of course. 2013 announced master plan rebuilding the zoo. For 20 years, the initial focus of the master plan, that's a terrible name for the plan, by the way, was preparing for the arrival of two giant pandas in 2018. 5-year stay. First time we had our big flood here in Calgary in 2013. That was kind of a bugger. It was not fun. City got together though and really rallied, and we did pretty good over here for a bunch of shit-kicking cowboys there, eh? So anyways, then it goes on to talk about, their conservation efforts and so on and so forth. That's it for the history. Just a couple of sentences. So I thought, well, there's got to be something else. Got to be something, Oh, of course, yeah, the electric company's got to look good, and as they jack up your electric charges every month, it seems. Or what they do is they nickel and dime you, right? And now they're starting to charge like service delivery fee, network maintenance fee, like all these. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Are these new fees? Well, no, these are fees that are like delivery fee. Delivering my electricity. What do you mean? Like, it's not like a guy's backing his truck up to my door and I walk out with a bucket. Fill her up with 20 gallons of electricity. You're not delivering the electric anywhere. It's just shoots through the damn wires under the ground and the wires up on the poles. You tell me that's why the power goes out is when the snow is heavy and the power lines break from the poles and it snaps and the power goes out because it goes through their wires. So we need delivery fee. So then they say, well, it's because the wires, we have to maintain the wires and blah, blah, blah. So it goes towards maintain. So I said, so why not call it a maintenance fee, like systems maintenance fee? Anyway, she didn't know. No answers. No idea why. So I said, okay, so how come 3 years ago you weren't charging for that? How come 10 years ago you weren't charging? You just all of a sudden dreamed up some new $5 a month thing that you can nickel and dime me to death with? Delivery fee of my electric. Like, a guy's got to pull up in a truck and knock on the door, and I got to slide open a little slot. And he passes a hose through, and I run it and hook it up to a thing. What is this? Airplane fuel? That hokey thing? Like, how exactly is the electricity being delivered to a guy's? You can see the meter turning and all that. Sure, I know there's electric being used. The lights are on right now. Sure, I get it. It's just, because they know if they jack it up too much, people will be like, hey, come on, man. That's powered by natural gas, and we just pumped that out of the ground here in Alberta. Why the hell does it cost so much? But eventually, people get upset, and you upset a bunch of rural farmers that you charge too much for their electric, and you get some problems. Cattle farmers and grain farmers, they like to band together and do that trucker protest thing we saw a while back. Yeah, farmers like to do that too, but they do that with their farm equipment. It's combines driving down the highway, big huge tractors and stuff. Yeah, when they're pissed, look out. Anyway, just thought that was kind of weird with that big, like 70-plus-year gap in the official history. Oh, at least according to Wikipedia, right? Huh. So I thought, well, okay, it's got to be something else. Then I saw like uh, it's like official blog for the Library and Archives of Canada website. So I thought, okay, well, that's gonna have something. But no, it just talks about the dinosaurs. Anyway, I'll share that with you so you can see what I'm talking about. It's just goofy, man. It's goofy. But anyways, this is Calgary Zoo, Library and Archives Canada. Again, links for everything below. But the dinosaurs of St. George's Island. Listen to this, by the way. This is the hokiest, goofiest setup for explaining why there's dinosaurs at the zoo. Anyway, one day in the 1930s, a group of people were enjoying a beautiful day on the park grounds of central Calgary's St. George's Island. The group's peaceful picnic was disturbed when a drunk man appeared and began to bother them. The park officer approached, and the man, sensing danger, ran away unsteadily. Pursued by the park officer, the intoxicated man just barely managed to navigate the park's pathways. Then, suddenly, he stopped in shock. Staring spellbound at the bright green dinosaur standing right in front of him. After a short pause, the man straightened up and turned around, heading directly for the park's exit. As he exited the park, his strides were steady. The park officer abandoned his pursuit, deciding that the shock had sufficiently sobered the troublemaker. Yeah, because cops just let people go when you're drunk and you're harassing people, and then you just all of a sudden pretend that you're no longer drunk. Like, what is that? Like, psych, officer, constable, actually, is what it would be here. In this case, it's Canada, right? Constable. For RCMP, anyway. Calgary didn't have a municipal police at that time, I don't think. Would have been the Northwest Mounted Police or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police later. The Mounties, so it would have been constable. So yeah, you could just fool, psych, constable, I was just playing. It's all good. And you would be like, oh, all right then, off you go. You young scallywag, messing about with people in the park. Public drunkenness. Anyways, then it goes on to say, if you have some doubts about the story, I don't blame you, but the Calgary Daily Herald reported on the incident shortly after it was alleged to have occurred. And the part about dinosaurs on St. George's Island, at least, is true. Back in the late 1930s, there were close to 20 different prehistoric creatures there, and by the 1970s, there were over 40. These life-size concrete sculptures were part of the Natural History Park at the Calgary Zoo. All of them are gone now, except for one. By the time I was old enough to visit the zoo on St. George's Island, I didn't even know that the others had been there at all. Yeah. I remember the first time I went to the zoo, I think this one was all that was left, or maybe there was one other one, or a couple maybe. There was maybe 3 in total or something. I think the first time I would have gone to the zoo would have been 1980, maybe 1981, after we moved to Calgary from Montreal. By the way, this is again, this is a Archives Canada. So it's supposed to be telling you about the zoo, but all it's telling you is some cockamamie story about a drunk guy being pursued by Dudley Do-Right through the city parks, and the guy sees a dinosaur. Really? That's a good question, Terry. Was it St. George, the dude that speared the dragon? I don't know. Is that I don't know. That'd be worth the Google, I guess. I got an extra Google in my pocket. Just see. Just gonna type it into the goggle machine. St. George and the Dragon. In a legend, St. George, a soldier and venerated in Christianity, defeats a dragon. Story goes that the dragon originally extorted tribute from extorted tribute from villagers. So the dragon was like a mob dragon practicing extortion. Hey, maybe you should come pay up over here before something might happen to your business. I don't want anything to happen to your pizza joint over here. It might burn down. You see what I'm saying? I would hate for your pizza joint to burn down. So, I'll protect you. You give me some money, or some jewels, or some gold coins, or some pieces of eight or something. I'm a dragon. I don't know what use I would have for monetary things like jewels or coins. I'll have to ask Smaug. Maybe he's the guy with all the gold and stuff too. So I don't know. But yeah, you're right. St. George, the dragon. So I didn't even make that connection. I did not even make that connection, Terry. Very good. Very good. Anyway, the story about the drunk man comes from the front page of the newspaper. Yeah, sure. August 28, 1937, in an article about the completion of the new dinosaur gardens. In the accompanying photo, 3 human figures gather around the feet of a giant brontosaurus sculpture, not even reaching the dinosaur's knees. That dinosaur, 120 tons, 10 meters high, 32 meters long, would quickly become known as Dinny. That's right, Dinny the dinosaur. And over 80 years later, it is the sole surviving dinosaur sculpture still standing on St. George's Island at the zoo. It's been moved, though. They moved it with one of them big choppers, the dual whirly birds that has the two, and they lifted it up and they flew it and moved it. The T-Rex, they used cranes to move that one. Hey, old world Mi'kmaq in the house. Good to see you in the box, sir. Howdy, howdy. Welcome. Flag of St. George. Ah, yes. Okay. Yes. That's a very interesting connection. I never even thought of it. See, I told you you're a great bunch there in the box. I told you. I told you. See? What? Now the dinero's going to come out. Huh? What'd I tell you? What'd I tell you? Huh? What did I fucking tell you, huh? Excuse my French. Didn't I tell you we're good? Huh? Didn't I tell you we're good? Anyway, moving on here. As a child growing up in Calgary in the late 80s and early 90s, I remember that Dinny held a special place in the hearts of many adult Calgarians. It's notable how often they spoke of their fond memories of visiting the zoo's children and of climbing Dinny as a rite of passage. The urban landscape changes quickly in Calgary. Preparations for the 88 Olympics had recently transformed much of the city's downtown. Yeah, they knocked down a ton of old world buildings to make room for the Olympics, those buggers. Being a dinosaur wasn't enough. Dinny was special because it was something from Calgary's ever-vanishing past. Anyways, it goes on to talk about a bunch of other stuff. But basically, the thing is that these big dinosaurs been there some form or another from the 30s right up through to the 80s and 90s. But in the 70s, they were at their peak. They were at the peak with all of these here dinosaurs. Now, who's this old fart and how does he know what dinosaurs look like? Well, that's John Canerva. He's a dinosaur builder from right here in Calgary. So that's his, what do you do for a living there, John? I build me some dinosaurs. Really? Yep. What do you mean build them? Well, steel frame, cage-like steel frame, metal frame, and concrete. Paint them up nice and shine them up real good. Build them dinosaurs. says on his business card, dinosaur builder. Get down from there, kid. You're going to break your head open. Look at this kid. He's, yeah, I'm going for it, bot. I'm going all the way up to the top of this bugger. And then I'll bet you $1 to Good Canadian Donuts. This kid gets to the top of this thing, and then he's too scared to come down, like a cat in a tree, you know? He starts crying and hollering. Then his uncle's got to climb up there and save his ass. Just saying. Just saying. So what do you think of that? It's like, again, weird and vague and always just, hey, I want to know more about the old time at Calgary Zoo. Here's some dinosaurs. Oh, yeah, okay. Dinosaurs are great. Been there since the 30s. It's cool. Story about the drunk guy is a little iffy. It's a little stupid, but sure, you know, you want to grab some headlines in the 30s. You know, it's not like people were busy. You know, it's the Great Depression. The dirty 30s, the Dust Bowl up here in Canada too, especially in the prairies. So, you know, but people didn't have lots of time in their hands or anything that you had to make, you know, these sensational headlines. But whatever. Got to grab their attention because people are so focused on other things. Like what? Looking for food and trying to find a job, I guess. Anyway. Okay. Want to find out anything else about the zoo? Oh, here's some more dinosaurs. Yeah, I get it. The dinosaur thing, Alberta. I get it. Cowboys and Indians, dinosaurs, and then oil. I get it. That's the stamp of the narrative for Calgary and for the surrounding areas. Basically, central and southern Alberta. That's your fish story. You get a little bit of the Oklahoma story, a bit of the Texas story, a little bit of the gold rush story. That's your story. Tell you what, we'll throw in some Mormons. Okay? That's your history story. Yeah, but I want to know more about how they built the zoo and how they designed the enclosures and who designed the zoo. What architects or landscape architects designed the zoo? Here's some dinosaurs. Ah, damn it. Dinosaurs. I get it. Dinosaurs. Anything else? Nope. So then I found a newspaper clipping, finally. Share that with you. Real quick here, too. And I'm like, oh, finally. And even that's pretty vague. This is from the 1989 Calgary Herald. Calgary Daily Herald, the one that printed that same paper that printed that cockamamie drunk guy getting scared sober by a giant dinosaur in the park. But anyway, so I mean, I don't know, but at least there's a little bit more something happening in this. So I thought, okay, finally, here we go. Yeah, exactly, Bill. Finally, here we are. Yeah. So bear with me. After that, my smoke, eh? About 60 years, the zoo has evolved from a recreational park to a refuge for endangered animals. Following are some, so not even all, but they're pretty good though. Some of the highlights recorded along the way. 1910, federal government gave St. George's and St. Andrews Islands, now linked to Calgary, with the understanding that they remain as public parks. St. George's later became the zoo site. That's right, there was named for the three saints, St. George, St. Andrew, and St. One was the patron saint of... I can't remember, but there's the three saints, and each one was a patron saint of something or other. I thought it would come up in one of these articles, but anyway, move along. Excuse me. 1912, two-story bandstand was constructed on St. George's Island and used as a tea house until 1963. Let's remember that. 1963. This tea house on St. George's Island. which is a 2-story bandstand. Okay. 1917, 2 mule deer that wandered in the city limits were captured and enclosed in pens on the island. These were the first 2 wild animals housed on the site. So there you go. There's your first 2 zoo animals. A couple of deer that wandered into the city limits, and a bunch of yokels, bunch of rootin' tootin' crazy Canadian Calgary cowboys. And they're probably drunk on Canadian whiskey or beer. Yeah, let's get us them 2 mule deer, eh? We'll bring them over on to St. George's Island there, bud. Boom. There you go. There you get a zoo. 1929, Calgary Zoological Society was founded, and Mayor F.E. Osborne was named honorary president. The zoo was flooded, and the animals had to be airlifted to safety. Later that year, Tom Baines was hired as a full-time curator on a salary of 25 cents an hour. He retired in 1964. Wow. That guy was full-time curator at the zoo from 1929 to 1964. Wow, what was it, 35 years? Good on you, bud. 1932, construction began on the zoo's first prehistoric park. Can we get some photos, please? No? Okay. 1933, the first monkey house of the zoo's first heated building opened. Get any photos of that? No? Okay. 1934, a levee was built around the island to combat flooding. Got any photos? That sounds like a big job, eh? There's probably a bunch of companies involved in that there, bud. Got any pictures of that? No? Okay. 1937, the Banff Zoo was closed and the animals were donated to the Calgary Zoo. The prehistoric park, which included Dinny, the zoo's brontosaurus mascot, opened. Got any photos of the Banff Zoo or the opening ceremony for the park with Dinny? No? Ribbon cutting ceremony with the guys with the aprons, the Freemasons and all that, their stupid thing? No? All right. 1939. Buster the sea lion escaped into the Bow River. Good for you, Buster. Buster, hey. Buster. I'm blowing kisses to you, Buster. Godspeed. Godspeed to you, Buster the sea lion. He was found playing with swimmers at the Bassano Dam. Bless him. That's a fantastic story. I don't know if that's BS or not, but that's great. That is great. Just wanted to play with the kids, man. Swimming or why not, man? Why not? 1939 to 1945, the WW2 years. Yeah, the war years. The zoo maintained its collection of about 500 specimens. Gripping information. That's a gripping yarn of information. Yeah, we still got our animals, eh? Is basically what they're saying for 6 years. Okay. 1957, the Children's Zoo opened, thanks to a financial donation from the late Mrs. Eric L. Harvey. Got any photos of that? Because apparently she's also was linked to the botanical gardens, which is kind of a big deal over there. No photos of the kids' zoo, but they had a petting zoo. It was still there when I was a kid. They had a little amusement park or petting zoo. No, nothing. Oh yeah, no photos. All right. 1959, the city transferred land on Ton Campbell's Hill to the zoo, where it housed hooved stock. The first Canadian births of captive moose, Rocky Mountain goats, and pronghorn antelope were documented. There you go. Okay. 1963, construction began on the conservatory with a $500,000 donation from Eric L. Harvey. A pair of giraffes also were donated. We get some photos of that, maybe. That sounds like a big deal. No, nothing. That's right. Buster busted out. He free rearied. Buster pulled a free reary. Sorry, sardines for Buster. Yes. Oh man. That's right, Terry. That's exactly true. That's why all the buffalo, the Great Plains bison and the wood buffalo here in southwestern Alberta disappeared. The dinosaurs ate them all. That's right. You're absolutely right. well documented. It's maybe just not photographing it, or even if they did, they're just not sharing it. It's, God forbid you put a photo in the newspaper. 1966, a pair of white rhinoceros and hippopotamus were added to the collection. Now, those sound rare. Got a photo of that? No, you got a bear. You got a picture of a bear. Because Canadians have never seen a bear before. In fact, in this photo, you've got some Indigenous First Nations people here. They've never seen a bear in Canada. Got this guy here. What is that? Hawk? I thought he was petting a beaver, but it's a hawk. He's stroking his bird. Easy, steady now. And then this guy's using a cutting torch on this cage for some reason. Ban the bars. Oh, this is, yeah, they're taking down some of the old cages. All right. So the photos of that, but none of this fancy stuff. Okay, 73. Ban the bars program. There you go. See, now they're getting crazy with the photos. There's 10-year master plan again. There it is. Yeesh. Construction began in the new prehistoric park, project supported largely by the energy industry. Any pictures of that? No, again, just a bear, a hawk, and this guy getting rid of the old cages. But, I mean, some of this was pretty good. Better than the Wikipedia. Better than anything else I found, really, to be honest with you. So not bad. Frankie double entendre fingers. Oh, wow. Take off, eh? Making me laugh too much, eh? Could get sore muscles in my tummy. So, I don't know. Let's see here. There was one thing. We wanted to remember that date of 1963. I think it was, right, for the tea house and the bandstand, the 2-story bandstand. Because I believe I found a discrepancy in the dates. I know. Shocking. I know. What do you mean they didn't get their story straight? I know. I get it. Just trying to find which. I'll make sure. Yes, here it is. Okay, got it. Guys got her, eh? What are we looking at here, Tom Weiss? We're into this thing already. We're having fun? You having fun? I'm having fun. How's everybody doing in the box? Doing all right? Once again, hello. Howdy. How you doing? Welcome. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining me here, Frankie. New West Reset. And this is New West Reset Live, episode 44. Tonight we're looking at the wacky history of the Calgary Zoo. A lot of big gaps in the story. You know. But we're digging. We're finding some stuff. But then, you know, the more you deep, the more you find some discrepancies. So yeah, that's what we're at so far. So thank you for kicking off your weekend with me. Yours truly here. It's Friday, December 15th, just after 7 p.m. Mountain Time here. Coming at you from Calgary, Alberta. Sig's here. Howdy. It wasn't me. So thank you very much for joining me here. And you know what? I think what are we going to do here? We're going to take a quick break, maybe. Give you a sneak peek at your midweek coming up Wednesday, your vintage footage. It's another winter sporting activities video, being that, you know, it's winter here in Canada and there's snow on the ground. So I thought it would all melt, but it didn't quite all melt. We got a little bit too much. And it didn't all melt. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Give you a sneak peek at your midweek coming up Wednesday here. Looking at footage from a winter festival in the Eastern Townships. We're going back to the Eastern Townships like we did last week. This is a winter festival. There's a parade and a bunch of activities going on. And this is from 1950. So we'll have a look at that. And that's a couple of minutes. And then when we come back, we'll have a look at this 2-story bandstand tea house old building that's on St. George's Island before they built the zoo. I don't know. Sounds wacky to a guy. But anyway, let me cue this up. 1950 Winter Festival, Eastern Townships. That's in Montreal, just outside Montreal in Quebec, Canada. And we'll be right back. Cheers.
Even though the nip...
All right, that's enough of that. We are back. So welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me here, Frankie. New West Reset Live, episode 44, Calgary Zoo history. They're kind of like an old-timey Jurassic Park with a bunch of dinosaurs. Don't run around through there drunk, though, because then you'll see the dinosaur, and it'll give you such a start. Oh, my goodness gracious. Anyway, thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here for another live one. Friday, just after about quarter past the hour, 7 p.m. local time, mountain time here in Calgary. Friday, December 15th. Unacceptable Living in Left Field is here. Welcome. Thanks for shooting into the box. Almost an hour late. Oops. Just get home. Hey, come on now. No whoops needed. It's all good. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming by. That's all guys can ask, you know. So come by, say hello, maybe give a fellow one of these. Maybe if you haven't subscribed yet and you're kind of kicking around the idea, maybe you're on the fence about it. Maybe I don't know if the show's going to help convince you to go ahead, but maybe go ahead and subscribe to a guy while you're at it. I don't know. Again, links for everything below for not only all the sources here tonight, Wikipedia and the other blogs and websites and archives we're looking at, but also Rumble, BitChute, MeWe, the fella's email is up in there, all four of them. Links in the description as well. Jabberoo Joe's here. Terry Light is in the house as well. Buddy Bill is here, and Awakening Soldiers in the house. So I've got one more thing here I wanted to share you. Before we went for the break, we were talking about the tea house, two-story tea house with a grandstand or a bandstand. That's it. Up on the second floor in this beautiful park. There's a refresher. I'm just opening up both tabs here because I want to make sure I got it right, because I'm pretty sure I caught a whoopsie. Make sure I've got the right information. It's from the archives page. Talking about the Dingy the Dinosaur, the drunk guy, I think was the one. Is that the article? So I'm just making sure because I'm getting discrepancy on the dates for that two-story tea house and bandstand. I want to make sure that I'm not fooling myself here, or I didn't make an error. Just trying to make sure I've got I was kind of having so much fun poking fun at the narrative that I kind of lost where it was, like which article it was. So I want to make sure that I'm not pulling up the wrong article. Wasn't the Wikipedia article, I don't think. I think it was one of the other, it was that blog one, I thought. Or it was the newspaper. That's what it was. All right. I know it's amateur hour here. Like, get your act together there, Frankie. What are you doing? What are you looking for? Okay, Buster the Sea Lion breaks free. Banff Zoo. Monkey House. Levee was built. Children's Zoo opened. Wasn't it? I thought it was here. I thought it was the newspaper article. Hey, Matt. Howdy. Welcome. Thanks for shooting in. Sir, maybe dinosaurs weren't approved by the Royal Zoological Society. Yeah, we'll see. There you go. It would have to be the Cryptozoological Society. Or some shit. I'm sorry, I'm lost now. Where was it? I said, okay, remember that date. And do people remember what the date was? Now it was 63, I thought. Or no, 40. Dang it. I should have just made it. You know what a guy should have done? So I should have picked up this here pencil. And I should have done just wrote it down so I didn't have to rely on technology. Because now I'm lost. Can't remember where I saw the conflicting dates. I'm just now double checking back on the Wikipedia, even though there was hardly anything there. No, it wasn't that. Definitely wasn't the Wikipedia. Bear with me. I'm sorry here, folks. I should just play another video while I'm rooting around like a groundhog here, trying to find that date. Dang nabbit. Let's see. Working on a natural history park started in 1935. I'm just going to share what I'm looking at here because, again, I'm trying to find that darn date. Because I'm pretty darn sure that I've got discrepancies on the dates here. So the natural history park work started in 35. Hard hit by the economic problems in the 30s. Despite a meager budget, a determined group of people were able to make something in the city that we're proud of. Sculptor, well-known living artist in Banff, was recruited to help design. He was aided by Iron Players and sculptor John. Yeah, there he is, John. Okay, that John guy. What do you do for a living, John? I build dinosaurs. I'm a dinosaur maker. You mean a boiler maker? No, dinosaur maker. I make dinosaurs. I'm looking for that darn. Great success, popular tourist track 52, and yada yada. No, I'm looking for that stuff about the grandstand or the bandstand, you know? You know what I'm saying? I can't remember where a guy saw that there. Hmm. I like to try to catch stuff, right? It was a couple of streams ago. I caught those windows underground, like when you're standing on the street level and you look at a construction site. Nothing there, but then when you go around to the back side, you go around the back alley, and you look at the construction site, it's because it's on a street that slopes down, so that the back street is lower, is what one level lower, and you look up, you can see that under the road there was windows and doors under there. So I like finding stuff like that if I can, and I thought for sure I found another discrepancy here. Construction began. First monkey house. Levee was built. Banff Zoo closed. Busted sea lion. Escaped. The Warriors maintained children's zoo. The city transferred to the zoo. First moose. Construction began. A conservatory. Pair of white yada yada. Banned the bars. Zeus Hut. 10-year master plan. Construction. Trying to find more about the dang tea house or whatever. And I'm sorry, I can't find. Anyway, the reason I'm getting all in a tizzy about it is because I'm pretty sure that the discrepancy I found was in this. That I found this is a University of Calgary website that just has a bunch of photos of St. George's Island. It says here, bandstand at St. George's Island, Calgary, Alberta. It says construction started in 1910 and finished in 1911. Bandstand demolished in 49. And then here it says cannons on the grounds of. Now I downloaded this photo so we can have a closer look at it, but they're saying here that the bandstand was demolished in 49, but then other article we were saying that it was a bandstand and it was used as a tea room. And I thought it was until 1953 or something like that. Yeah, kerfuffle. Anyways, there is a discrepancy. I'm pretty sure it's 53, and on this one it's saying 49. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let me see what else I've got here for you. So I did find a nice. I think this is it. The digital collections. No, I'm sorry. I keep hitting the same link. Sorry. No, that's not it. Hang on a sec. I'm sorry. Is it amateur hour there? Have another drink, Frankie. I'm not drunk. I promise. I swear. Just have problems with the old clicking of the mouse here with CV for some reason. Here we go now. All right. Yes, this is what I was looking for. This is a website called Everyday Tourist. I think I may have shared their website before on the channel. I'm not sure. But anyways, Everyday Tourist. Again, link in the description. Historic Calgary postcards, St. George's Island. While Central Memorial Park and Bonus Park were the showpieces of Calgary's early parks, the Bow River Islands, St. George, St. Patrick, St. Andrew, have an interesting history as parks. The islands were first leased by Town Council for Development of Parks in 1887. 3 islands were named for the patron saints of, here we go, the UK, St. George of England, St. Patrick of Ireland, and St. Andrew of Scotland. There you be, laddie. You finally got it right. You've been screwing around on that computer looking for that bloody. And there it was the whole time, right in front of you, the 3 islands. Idiot. Give me a smack on the head. Anyway, late 19th century, there was no Prince's Island. It was merely a shifting gravel bar and more of an isthmus. Isthmus? It's a new one on me. That's until Peter Prince created a channel in the river, now the lagoon, to allow logs to float to Eau Claire lumber mill at the site of current Eau Claire market. The St. Andrew Island was created by a lagoon between it and St. Patrick Island, which has since been filled in to create one island. PTC in the box, the coolest toy collector alive. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? Welcome. Back in 1892 through 1900, a ferry service connected St. George's Island to town, increasing its popularity as a weekend playground. In 1900, a footbridge was constructed. Construction of the existing St. George's Island Bridge for cars and pedestrians. Bridge in 1908 cost $2,500, or $25,000, I should say. Same time, an Elbow River Bridge was moved to the island's north side, providing a link to the then new Calgary General Hospital. Why did they have to link the park to the hospital? People bust their asses in the park or something? Go to the park to relax. Maybe bring a lunch. Maybe throw a frisbee. I don't know. Did they have frisbee back in 1908? Probably not. Throw the football around. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever they did. Play croquet. I don't know what the hell they did back then. Anyways, natural beauty of St. George's Island that captured the attention of Calgary's park superintendents. The island was enhanced with planting of more trees, cinder pathways, fireplace for picnickers, and beer garden, dance hall, band shell. By 1911, the island was home to 200 weekend picnic parties. Sunday afternoon, band concerts drew an average of 1,500 to 2,000 people. The population back then was only 40,000. So 2,000 people on a weekend would go to a concert in the park back in 1911. Sounds pretty nice. Right on an island in the Bow River that flows right through the middle of the city. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Yeah, absolutely right. Saint Andrew did. He slayed the dragon. Dragons, dinosaurs at the Calgary Zoo. Calgary Zoo is on St. George's Island. St. George. I don't know what St. Andrew did about dragons or snakes. St. George. I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. I didn't grow up Catholic or whatever, so I don't know too much about the saints, the patron saint of this, that, and the other. There's so many of them. I can imagine it would be kind of give a guy a headache trying to memorize all that stuff. The two-story German beer garden built on the site of today's Calgary Zoo Conservatory at a cost of $4,000 in 1912 became a well-known Calgary architectural landmark. Much to the embarrassment of Park Superintendent Richard Iverson in the city, it was illegal to sell beer on city property, so the building was converted to a tea house. However, this didn't work well either, as the noise from the bands on the top floor drove the tea drinkers from the main floor. It became known as the Old Bandstand. Several attempts were made to create a zoo in Calgary early in the 20th century. Zoo at St. George's Island began in 1917 when two wayward deer found. Yeah, okay, we heard the story already. Dog catchers caught him. Okay. They're so popular, the zoo began to grow under the direction of Park Superintendent. Hey, come look at the deer. And it grew rapidly because of these deer, I guess. And the beer garden that didn't have beer. So there's postcards. Here we go. There's a bandstand, but we'll see this big, huge building. But Calgary was once called the Paris on the Prairies. You see that? That's new to me. I'd never heard that one before. That's a new one to a guy. I know we're the heart of the New West, the gateway to the Rockies, all that stuff, but that was a new one on me. Paris on the Prairies. Look at this. The explosive growth of Calgary in the early 20th century prompted a need to put some serious thought into long-term city planning. In 1912, British landscape architect Thomas Mawson was commissioned by the city to prepare a master plan. There's that word again. To address that phrase, sounds terrible, address the rapid growth of the city. Mawson's proposal was ambitious plan, on par with Haussmann's rebuilding of Paris during the reign of Napoleon III. Focus of Mawson's plan was on the Bow River, not the CPR rail line. Let's look what this guy was kind of proposing. Yeah, that's nice. You wouldn't have gotten any argument from me there, feller. I mean, we do have some buildings here that look like this, but nothing to this extent. I mean, he's got silly with it. That looks glorious. Aha, there we go. Here's this beer house / tea room / bandstand. The beer garden, dance hall, eventually tea house on St. George's Island. Look at this beauty. It's nice, eh? St. George's Island, Calgary. So this is the bridge that was moved here, and so you could come in from downtown is over here, and you could just whoop. It's basically Inglewood over here. You could just come across this nice grand promenade up to the beer garden. Well, of course, you got to have a dinosaur in there. 1921. Parked an old Packard under there. Look at that. I wonder too, talked about this a couple of videos ago. It was one of my boots on the ground videos. it was a few weeks back. I went to the East Village because I know there used to be two old two-story brick buildings, brick houses, homes. Very nice, larger homes, but not massive, not mansions or anything. Just, nice on the large side, modest two-story brick homes right next to each other. By the time I went to, shoot the video, they were gone. Now, Vinny had mentioned, well, you could check on, Google Maps and just roll back the date and you'd still see them. And yeah, they're still there. They have their wooden siding over the brick. Or one does and one doesn't. But either way, the point is that, it's just stuff is being destroyed so quickly, right? But it's just, I can barely keep up. I filmed a bunch, not this past summer, the summer before. Some of these places were used in that The Last of Us TV show, because a lot of those old buildings they used Calgary. They used like the Safe building that we looked at this past summer, but the summer before that, I looked at a bunch of old world apartment buildings, old brick apartment buildings. And right after they filmed The Last of Us in those the following summer, they knocked them down. But when I went and shot them, there were still people living in those apartments. Exactly. That's exactly right. Oh, no luck, eh? So they were already knocked down at that point. Hey, we did see the big wooden crates filled with big wooden bins filled with bricks, though. So that was nice, I guess. It's another shot of that bridge. You can see the island. It was just like it was a combination of sort of nice formal walkways, like they said, paved laneways or walkways, beautiful old world lighting and all of this and plants and stuff. But then they had, pathways, dirt pathways. So it was a nature preserve / zoo / city park. Oh, look, you got to have your indigenous totem, of course, eh? Not really sure why. That's kind of a West Coast native indigenous First Nations stick. Calgary's in a landlocked province of Alberta, but sure. Maybe they traded it for some buffalo hide. There's the one shot of the kids' zoo amusement park. And this is in the 70s, I think. So, yeah, or maybe 60s. Postcards are beautiful, though. This building is no longer there. Went to shoot it, and it's gone. It was a restaurant and microbrewery, like a brew house and a restaurant. Tap house, tavern, whatever you want to call it. They brewed it there, and there was a whole restaurant in there. And it was nice, 2 floors. But they moved it. So it's not really worth shooting because it's not its original spot. So I figured no sense going and filming it. Maybe I will anyway. Because the building's original. It's just not its original spot. I had one other. Was that it? That was it. Postcard thing. Yeah. Okay. So now I've got some photos to share with yous. And again, it was tough. It was tough going for a guy. I thought there was a lot out there. I was clickety clacking and the mouse and tippy typing and beep 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 boop 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 all over the place and nothing. Not much. Now I don't know if it's just because of my search history in the past. So now the interwebs goes, what's this guy poking around this stuff for? Yeah, we don't like the looks of this guy with his fingers in the cookie jar. So maybe they just decide shut it down, or we're not going to give them good pictures to look at. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the algorithm looks. Team Heat could be, them dirty Calgary, Alberta Cowboys, right? They're out on the range all day. They get to missing the lady folk. So they put the dinosaurs up there to scare the ladies out of their girdles. Yeah, they can get a good eyeful of ankle, or oh my goodness, I saw a shoulder. Saw a shoulder. I don't know about that, Vinny. Could be though. I told you I'd work with a guy who's a Mason, and I'm always kind of trying to pick his brain. And I'm gently kind of busting his balls a little bit. Not giving him a hard time about the Masons. Oh, you guys, you're bunch of, because the Masons today aren't like what they were back, back after the resets in the 1800s, right? After the most recent resets, that is, right? I think for the most part now, a lot of it is just kind of a bunch of bozos hanging out. Because I've been to Mason events with them, dinners and stuff like that. And not, at the Mason Hall, so that there isn't the big rigmarole with all the ceremonial stuff or whatever. The guys aren't wearing their little aprons and all that crap, but, they're wearing their pins and there's handshakes going on and, But who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe his coworkers hip them to me. They're like, yeah, this guy's poking around. He's poking around, man. This Frankie Fingers guy's got his fingers in a cookie jar. Frankie, where is it? Frankie Cookie Fingers? Where is it? There it is. Well, that's the thing. Even with one show, right? Like all I wanted to do was look into the Calgary Zoo. Then I found discrepancies in the dates of the tea house. And I'm not finding any. There's all this brouhaha about the zoo. Yeah, the monkey house was built. And this wasn't stuff that they're saying. It's not like they're saying it was built in the 1800s. And, there was a lot of photographs. Oh, this was in the 30s, man. The 20s and the 30s. There should have been shutterbugs snippety snapping all over the place, man. Anyway, we do have some. We'll have some photos here to look at. But most of it is that beer garden / tea house / bandstand. Not that little grandstand, not that little gazebo grandstand, but a big bandstand. Anyway, let's hop to it here and see what's what. Boom! Some of them are small, but most of them are quite a decent size. There's going to be a few that are just wee ones like this because they're from the darn Glenbow Museum here in Calgary, and they always just put them as like 260 by 340 or something. And I'm just like, really? Yeah. That's itty bitty. Of course, so that when you zoom in too much, it gets all pickleated. You can't see what the. But I mean, so here's that. Supposedly, this was a beer house or beer garden. That's German, right? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Jawohl, ja. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Das ist ein Biergarten. Bierhausen. That's about all I could say in German. And even that, I probably butchered it. But anyway. So apparently this was your beer house / tea room. And up here is your bandstand. Look, everybody's dressed in their little hats. Right? The men with those flat straw hats there. I call those like those Roaring 20 hats, like the Great Gatsby hats. Mind you, this is Calgary, 1917. So this should be, a bunch of cowboys, rootin' cowboys. But no, they look pretty sophisticated men and ladies. To me, sitting in the park, enjoying something going on up there. I could see there's probably live band up there. Looks like there's people up there. This thing looks like it's got some funny low windows, and then you just got these stairs to go up, so that's odd. So, I mean, I don't know about this thing. I wish it was still there. And the thing about it is that in some of these colorized postcards, it's covered in all this ivy, or whatever this is. And this isn't really a thing here in Alberta. Now, this is Calgary, Alberta. Okay, this is like, yes, we're sort of right at the foothills of the Canadian Rockies, but we have very high elevation. And yeah, you're seeing a lot of pine trees, but that's just the thing. It's mostly pine, spruce, maybe some poplar and elm. maybe some ash, but it's very dry and very arid here. Like creeping ivy like this isn't really a thing here in Calgary. Like a lot of the old world homes that I look at on my boots on the ground videos, they're not covered in this ivy. One or two maybe, but not. I mean, this looks like it's been here forever. Like I don't know how. To be honest, it's so not a thing here. I don't know even how long it would take this to grow like this all over the front of this building. I don't know if that's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. I have no idea. That's not to say there's zero of this happening here in the city. It's just, it's not really that common because it's so bloody dry. We're almost like semi-arid high desert here in southern Alberta. It's very much like where John Levi is there in Utah, but not quite as dry and arid, but close. We have a little bit more moisture because we're a bit closer to the Canadian Rockies, which are quite tall and have snow on them. Right? So anyway, I just thought this was very intriguing because we're seeing some photos with all that ivy and some without. Now this is 1917. The date on this one didn't have a date, but I don't know. I mean, is it before that other photo? Is it after? I want to say it's after. You tell me. I'm not a ivy expert. This is beautiful though, because here's the entrance. So we saw it from this point of view, looking back this way. So that trestle bridge is sort of behind the photographer here from this point of view. You can see these beautiful light fixtures here, and then there's sort of a circular paved pathway that goes around, and it's all lit. Bunch of funny tech on top of this, though. Not sure why there's what look like doorways here, but the path goes between them, and if you go through the doorway or walking through the flower garden, I don't know. But it is lovely. It's very fancy. And again, this isn't here anymore. I wish it was. There's a closer shot of that tea house / bandstand. This is from 1930. 1925 to 1930, I think it says. Yeah, whatever that means. Kind of vague. Okay. Funny business going on here. Looks to me like the spherical light fixtures are on top of obelisk shaped or tapered pillar or tapered column shapes. I'm not sure. It's not overly fancy. There's no fancy capital that I can see on it, but for the time that this was supposedly built, 1911, 1912, here in the prairies. There's another one. See again. It's just the photos are either it's covered in ivy like this, or it's maybe this is in the 30s or 40s. Because it's either one or the other. So I don't know. Like, why wouldn't they? Did they not upkeep it for a while? Here's it is again in that 1940s with the cannons up front. So there's one there, supposedly one here. Why do they have cannons in front of this? And here it looks like maybe it's covered in ivy. It's hard to get so pixelated. Gets all pickolated on a guy. Sorry, but sorry. There's Denny the dinosaur, though. Maybe the cannons are there to protect the dinosaur. Maybe the cannons are shooting at the dinosaur. I don't know. There's another angle of that nice promenade, but you can see now it looks to me like those stone parts of the entranceway are gone now in this photo. You can see it's gone through a lot of changes, and then eventually now it's just gone. It's not even there anymore. This could be in the fall, or it could even be in the winter, but during a Chinook when it's gotten warm enough to melt the snow. But the leaves of the ivy are, it's dormant. The ivy is dormant, so there's no leaves. And then maybe in the spring it turns green and gets fuller. So that's why we're seeing some of it where it looks half engulfed in ivy and the other half isn't, and then some absolutely none. So I don't know, because this still looks like in the early period where it's well used and well landscaped and manicured, but we're not seeing the light posts here. Yeah, the cue ball and billiard ball, right? Let's see, Awakening Soldier says ivy grows 50 to 70 centimeters per year. Is that about 2 feet per year? He just conjugaled it. My brother and I came up with that conjugal, by the way, because we have Craigslist, Kijiji, and Google. So then we just combined it all. We combined Craigslist, Kijiji, and Google to conjugal. It's a stupid thing, and I've been saying it ever since. Tabasco in the box. Howdy. Welcome. I'm gonna sneak in on a fella. I saw you there. Good to see you. It grows the whole year through. In winter, just not so it doesn't go completely dormant in winter. This is some good info, by the way. Thank you, because I have no idea. Didn't the Hudson's Bay Company sell fake ivy back? What do you mean by fake? Like artificial ivy or other plants that looked like ivy and they sold it as ivy? Oh, it does keep living in winter. Okay. So it would lose some of its foliage, but continues to grow at a slower rate. And then would bloom more or would be fuller in the spring and summer. Because like here, look, like it's, mind you, we're comparing apples to oranges because now the light fixtures are back. See, they're kind of more obelisk shaped, like they're four-sided. They're not round. I don't know. But here, again, it's covered. Like if there was a bandstand up there, like people obviously are not sitting any longer. This is a later photo. So maybe the building wasn't being used as much as it was in earlier photos where the people were sitting in the front, in the 1917, like, or maybe pre-World War One, right? So it was finished, they said 1912, so maybe 1913, 1912. Those people are sitting around the front of it and they're having live music, and maybe this is post WW1, and this is, the 20s, 30s. So they fixed it up, but maybe they're not using this as a bandstand anymore. Because, it's just covered in that stuff, man. This is the backside of the building. You can see it's up on a slope, and this slope was all around it, by the way. This photo is from 1944. There it is, 44. So this is the front, and it has that huge promenade going up the front here. I'm not even sure what cars are doing here. I guess they would go over that bridge. So it looks to me like we're looking at different stages of use and disuse. It looks like perhaps the main floor was used a lot more often than the bandstand. And the ivy was just allowed to grow and just get like crazy out of control. Because again, here in Calgary, man, like this isn't, like in, I don't know, out in the east, like in Quebec or Ontario, where it's humid and moist and doesn't get as cold and dry. Plants do better out there. Like maple trees don't even grow out here. We have Manitoba maple, which is a hardier subspecies or something apparently, but like regular maple trees that have the red leaf that's on our flipping flag, for crying out loud, those don't even grow out here in Alberta. So admittedly, I'm not too sure about the whole Ivy thing and all that. It's really thrown me for a loop. Anyway, so this is now where they've some of these photos are now they've built the Natural History Park, the dinosaurs, the Jurassic Park, the old timey Jurassic Park right here in Calgary, Calgary Zoo. 1930s here, this thing opened up. Here's their main entrance, the big pterodactyl. Is that how you say it? Pterodactyl? It's like pneumonia, right? Yeah, I thought so. Got some dinosaurs in the back there. And of course, you want to have some plaques to help push the narrative about, millions of years ago in this area, it was a tropical rainforest and dinosaurs ruled the earth. Admittedly, that is a very impressive sized concrete dinosaur statue. I mean, we saw photos where there was a Packard parked under it. Some jackass parked his car under there. Hey, take my picture. You can see after a while they built fences around them, and they built little, I guess, like little shelters and then they would have like a plaque there saying, this dinosaur was part of the, Cretaceous period of blah 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 or whatever, right? Then these signs, hey kid, get off there, don't climb on us and whatever, But back in the day, you could freely roam around these things and climb on them and stuff. They had different dinosaurs, and you gotta have dinosaurs fighting the other dinosaurs. You gotta have the carnivorous dinosaurs with the sharp teeth trying to eat the herbivore dinosaurs with the duck bills. Calgary has only yellow, orange, fall colors. No red. Yeah, that's right. There's some bushes and stuff that have red and purples, but yeah, the big trees that have the red leaves, no, it's just yellow, orange, and then brown. But then we have a lot of trees that stay green year round, and different shades of green: bluish green, yellowish green, like a deep, pine green or whatever, So yeah. We do have some anomalies for some of our trees here because we get those Chinooks. So it doesn't stay below zero from, November through March like it would, let's say, up in Edmonton or in Winnipeg or something like that, right? Or in, Regina or Saskatoon. Like today during the day, it went above zero. In fact, right now, when I started this stream at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, it was -5 Celsius. It's now +1 Celsius. 2 hours into this thing and the temperature's gone up 5 degrees Celsius. So I don't know, man. I don't know. No, no spurs allowed. Oh, sorry, I had to mute the mic there. It was so funny. I was coughing. Every time I say Chinook, you want lox on bagel, eh? Yes. The Chinook salmon, eh? Oh, look, there's another duck-billed one. Get ma and pa in front of it. I mean, it's kind of neat, that these photos are out there. And back in the day, you could get right up to them and get your picture taken or goof around, climb on them and stuff. But again, these are the only photos, really. What are you doing, mister? I'm a dinosaur maker. I got my bucket of paint. I'm just finishing touches on old Bessie here. Because I'm John, what's his Knickle or whatever his name was. Dinosaur maker. Here's my business card. Mommy, I'm afraid. Anyway. So there you go. Wishing you a mammoth Christmas, by the way. Holidays coming up, the holiday season. Happy holidays to you. Wishing you a mammoth Christmas. Yeah, this was an actual Calgary Zoo Christmas card. Because again, even a holiday that's supposed to represent the birth of Jesus. I don't know, you gotta have some kind of prehistoric dinosaur thing or something. Something. uh, just polishing my dinosaur. Don't worry, little girl. I'm just rubbing my lizard, rubbing my big lizard here, little girl. Don't worry, it's fine. It's terrible. Stop it. Yeah, some of those dinosaurs, even by like dinosaurs, look hokey enough by the now official. Oh, now we really know what they look like narrative, right? But they look hokey enough now. But then if you look at how they thought dinosaurs looked like in the 1930s and 40s, it's like something out of a terrible B movie that you would take your girl to the drive-in to see. Come on, Mary Sue, let's go and see the dinosaur that came from planet Xenon or whatever. And they always got to make them fighting. You got to have the dinosaurs fighting each other. I know it gets out of control here, doesn't it? Hey, what are you gonna do? We like to have fun. It is what it is. Gotta stop now. Definitely raises eyebrows. Definitely. Hopefully that's all it's raising. The dinosaurs real. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I do think that, obviously they're finding bones under the ground, but what we see in the museums that are all assembled, like when you go to Drumheller and you go to the Royal Tyrrell Museum, or any of those, dinosaur exhibits in any of those natural history museums, right? When you go and you see those assembled dinosaur exhibits, those are just casts, they tell us, of the bones. Are those the bones? No, they're the casts of the bones, or casts of missing pieces of the bones to fill in the bones. Because we don't have all the bones, we just have the fragments. We have the fragments of the pieces of the bones. So we got to make a cast of it and then fill in the rest with like, so when you see this stuff, right, like the big huge museum in here in Alberta, in Drumheller, has like this kind of display, like these, they're not pulling out these big full huge, like this is all just like plaster, and then they shellac it to make it all shiny so you can be like, oh, kind of like how bodybuilders oil up before they go out there and flex the competition, show off the guns, baby, right? So, whatever they're digging up, I don't think it's these big, giant lizards. It could be, maybe there were some kind of giant prehistoric. We know that in the recent past, there were giant versions of animals that we see today, giant elephants, right? Like mastodons, woolly mammoths. They're pulling remains of those out of the ice that still are intact, like mummified, basically. So they still have the fur and the tusks, still have like berries and grass in their stomachs and stuff. They've been flash frozen. The meat, they can feed their meat to the sled dogs. We know there's giant cave bears, giant sloths or sleuth, however you want to say it. I always heard it as sloth, so I say sloth, eh? But, they had all that, giant saber-toothed cats. So maybe there were giant lizards, like monitor lizards, like those big Komodo dragon lizard type things that you see like Japan and like Indonesia, and down in the Southeast Asia and in and around there, right? Those things, the lizards with teeth with the poison in the drool, and when they bite you and then you get paralyzed, but you think, oh, it just bit me, but I got away from it. Oh, I got away from it. Oh, I'm feeling woozy. Maybe I'll just lie down and have a nap. Wait, oh no, now I'm paralyzed. It was in the dragon slobber. and then the dragon catches up to you and nums, right? Maybe they were just really big, like, the woolly mammoth version of a lizard. But where there's 17 bazillion different types of them that existed over bazillions of years, and that giant lizard wasn't in that hundreds of millions of years ago. It was in these hundreds and hundreds of millions of years ago. Get the hell out of here, out of my face with that. I think it's possible there could have been a couple of dozen different forms of giant armadillos and big lizards, different parts of the world called dragons, like maybe some kind of flying reptilian type beast, maybe. That they tell us, no, those were pterodons or pterodactyls, but maybe it's what everybody was talking about in the Far East and in the Middle Ages when they're talking about dragons. I don't know for sure. All I know is I don't think that they're finding fully intact skeletal remains of thousands of different kinds of giant dinosaur beasts from hundreds of millions of years ago, buried down in the rocks and in the mud and in the dirt. I think they are remains of giant beasts of some kind from maybe a few thousand years ago. Maybe they're antediluvian, right? They're pre-flood. I'm talking about like the big one, right? The biblical flood, right? The Noah's flood, if you will. Maybe that's what buried them. So maybe it wasn't bazillions and gazillions or a gazillion years ago, but maybe it was more like a couple of few thousand years ago. Maybe, I don't know. And even that, who knows? I don't know, man. They mess around with the dang tie line so much on a guy. I mean, is it even December the 15th, 2023? I don't know. 8 p.m.? I don't know. Well, it says on my computer down here in the corner, it's what it tells me right down here on my taskbar. That's what this thing says it is. So, yeah, I mean, there's some ancient religions that go back, and they go back tracing time by the lineage of their rulers, because they kept really careful records of who ruled us, a city-state or a group of peoples, over hundreds of years and eventually over a series of millenniums. So, if they know that this king was born roughly around this year and died roughly in this year, okay. And his father was this dude, and his father's kind of like the Bible does, right? Like Isaac was the son of so-and-so, who was the son so-and-so, who's the son so-and-so, right? But then where comes the problem with the Bible is, this guy lived, 400 years, 600 years, 800 years. And you're like, wait, you mean literally years? Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I suppose it's possible. Maybe back then, because there were different types of human. Maybe they were a different kind of human, a higher human. Like Noah and all them cats, but I don't know, right? So it convolutes everything. So then you basically ask this, is time real? Like, what is it, right? So then it just becomes semantics when, somebody says, like I had somebody commenting on my midweek video from just this past Wednesday, the one about people skiing there in the Laurentians there in 1949. It was nice because it was in color. People looked like they were relaxing, having a good time. A bunch of Canadian teenagers and 20-somethings putting on their plaid shirts and their khakis and their ski boots and their skis. It wasn't even cold enough that they were wearing coats or nothing, really. Somebody in the comments, what does this have to do with Tartaria time period? Like, why are you asking me about Tartaria? There's nothing that says anything about Tartaria in this video. It just says something like old world Canadian skiing or something like that, or old time skiing or something. old time skiing in Canada or something. People get bent out of shape if you use the term Tartaria because, oh, well, because that was so long ago and it was this and that and it was only a this, it wasn't a that. And really, like you were there. So you know more than anybody. All we can use is the information that we're given, right? If the powers that should not be or the books, the stacks of books tell you, that, oh, that happened 400 years ago. Well, yeah, I guess. Okay. Like, I don't know. I can cross-reference it a few times with other source material, but I mean, short of, being Marty McFly and going 88 miles per, I gotta send you back to the future, and get Doc Brown to build me a flux capacitor. Or the new shitty Indiana Jones movie where he goes back in time. Ridiculous, but I mean, short of doing that, so that you could, oh yeah, okay, there. But then I come back to tell all of you, and they're like, really, right? So I mean, so all we can do is use these terms of time, or 1,000 years ago, or oh, I believe that this is old world, or I believe this is some kind of old tech. You need old tech. Well, like steam engine, like the old steam trains, the old chugga choo choo. Like even in the 1870s, when you see one of those things rolling down the rails, they look out of place. They somehow look, I mean, that term steampunk has been used, I guess, because it looks futuristic, but really old at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so simple, but so complicated. All of this, like it's very not complicated, but sophisticated. It's simple, but sophisticated. So I don't know. I just call it, it's old tech, man. People get all bent out of shape. It's a train, you dummy. Yeah, I know it's a train, man. Been around trains my whole life. I know it's a train. I could probably even tell you what kind of train it is. It's not the point. All we can do is, I mean, we use these terms as sort of umbrella terms just for ease of reference and for research. So when somebody says old world, well, you have a pretty good idea what they're talking about. Somebody says mud flood, you have a pretty good idea what they're talking about. You may not see eye to eye on every single point, of within the theories of mud flood and what caused it and how, when it happened and where it happened and how widespread it was. If indeed it was, again, this is a theory, just like any other theory. Yeah, peer reviewed. That makes it legit. Old World Me Mark asking, have you seen the Disney movie The Island at the Top of the World? No. No, I have not. No, I have not. I have not. Sounds like an interesting title, though. You know what I notice more and more now? Like, I don't have cable or even subscribe to any streaming services. I think I've talked about this before. My brother's very good at, shall we just say, sailing the high seas of video piracy. Yar, matey. He can get his dirty, grubby hook hand real deep into some good quality video and television and movie. He just gets these files, right? He finds them on the interwebs and downloads it, and we watch it. Right? There's a couple of shows we like, and there might be the odd movie that looks good, so we want to see it, right? Like I'm waiting for him to find a copy of Godzilla -1, and Napoleon, although I've heard mixed reviews of Napoleon, but whatever. But I've noticed it more and more now when I watch a show or a movie. I'm noticing stuff like, hey, there's a mud flood window right there. Like that guy just walked past the mud flood window right there and he didn't even notice it. Well, of course not. Of course he didn't notice it, the character in the movie. But I noticed it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, I guess, from that once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's from 1974. Okay, I'll look it up. Hey, that's a hot tip. Thank you. It was like hearing about interesting kind of stuff like that seem to have little hidden messages. That's why I use a lot of the songs from a lot of the bands that I do on my channel too when I'm uploading one of those vintage footage videos. Because I like the double meaning and the multi layers of the lyrics. Yeah, I think it's that kind of thing. Plus, he uses a Mac. He doesn't use a PC, so from what I understand, he's slightly less susceptible to, the viruses for your machine, your computer. Deborah Joe says, I used to work on a track gang for the NZR back in the 70s. One of my workmates' nickname was Fingers. Really? It's hilarious. Oh, wait. I hope it wasn't one of those ironic nicknames that he was nicknamed Fingers because he was missing a couple of fingers. Oof. Ooh. Hope not. Hope not. Like one of those guys who's 6'8" and his nickname is Shorty or whatever. You know what I mean? I get called big guy sometimes because I'm like 5'8" and I weigh about $150. It's hey, big guy. Yeah, I get it. It's ironic and funny because I'm small. Shut up. He would also he would injure other people's fingers. Oh, that's terrible. That's not a good guy to work with. Good guy to work with at all. Well, thanks, Vinny. Vince says you're fit, Frankie. Well, I'm in good shape. I can walk all day. Yeah, and sometimes I forget, right? I've got you with me, and I'm like, I just want to go up here and have a look at this place. And when I say, I just want to have a look over here, it's like 6 blocks away. You're like, hey, man, can we maybe have lunch or something? Yeah, it's because I walk everywhere, right? I live well, you know where I am, right? My neighborhood is just on the edge of the old town limits. So it's like a half-hour walk to the downtown core. So anywhere I need to be, like 10-minute walk to work, 15 minutes to the bank if I actually physically got to go into the bank and do something. I've been told that before. It's like, hey, man, like, I gotta sit out for a sec. It's like, are your feet hurting? No, man. I used to walking all over the hell's half acre like you are. It's because it's a heaven here in Alberta, but we've got all hell for a basement. So we got to find them mud flood windows, them basements. Anyway, with that said, we're here about a quarter past the hour. We've been going for just over 2 hours, man. Wow, just jabbering away. Mind you, 20 minutes of that was eaten up by me screwing around trying to find where that discrepancy was. I could have swore it was 49 and 53 were the two different dates given from when they shut down that tea room place. It's not a big deal. It's only 4 or 5 years, right? You don't have to be accurate when we're giving you the history of your city's zoo or anything. Well, take care. Deborah Jones says, see you, Frankie. I got to go meet my mate for a couple of Labatt's Blue, eh? Oh, you got to get them Labatt's Blue there, bud. Labatt, Molson, maybe a nice O'Keefe, Carling O'Keefe. Remember that? Going back to the old beer talk from the last show with Mr. Molson. Anyway, I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here for tonight. But as per usual, thank you very much once again for shooting in and joining a fella here for another live New West Reset Live. What are we, episode 44 tonight? Hard to believe. Looking a bit into the Calgary Zoo. I dropped the ball a bit, I'm sorry. But I know it was in there somewhere. Links are below. You can find it. I don't know what happened. I was goofing around too much. We were having too much fun, and I lost track of the dates. But I know it's in there. But there's links for BitChute, Rumble, MeWe, and of course my email in the box below as well. Hope you enjoyed your sneak peek at the midweek. That'll be coming up Wednesday. This coming Wednesday. Prior to that, this Sunday coming, boots on the ground, snow on the ground, so definitely boots. Not the guy's not wearing his sneakers. Tennis shoes? No, running shoes. Cross trainers. No, sneakers. I'm just gonna go with sneakers. Definitely have to wear my boots. So yeah, that'll be coming up Sunday. A nice, beautiful brick home, old world home. That's no longer a residence. It's been converted to, I can't remember what it is. It's like an engineering firm took it over or something. The nice thing is that it's well maintained. So that'll be coming up Sunday. As mentioned, your midweek, nice little old-timey Canadian winter festival that we had to look at here tonight for your sneak peek. And then next week, next Friday, holiday special. We're going to do the Christmas thing over here with Frankie. Frankie Fingers Christmas style. So stay tuned for that. Once again, if you haven't already, give me one of these. Give me a like, push me out into the algorithm a little bit. If you haven't subscribed and you're kicking around the idea, hey, I'd love to have you jump aboard and join this buffoonery. If you're already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. There's some goofy stuff going on. Again, thank you to everybody in the box, in the chat tonight. Really appreciate all of you shooting in, kicking off your weekend with yours truly. So I think that is going to seal the deal here tonight for Frankie, New West Reset, episode 44. So until next week for the holiday special, we'll see you Sunday and for the midweek. So take care out there, everybody. And until the next one, have yourselves a good one. I'll see you again soon. All right? Cheers. Thanks a lot.